Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Ashram. All thanks to Bhagwan that we were able to forget ourselves and plunge into the depths of the Divine Being, the Divine Nama. It was so vibrant. We could feel the presence of the Divine so vibrantly. All pure grace. Today's theme, it's a question that came to the mind of a schoolboy. There is a saying here in the Pradhan Mandir, in the northeast corner. It's written there that Bhagwan said, be it a small move or a big move of this beggar, it's connected with the whole cosmos. Every movement of this beggar is being used by Father for the welfare of the whole cosmos. Any changes? This beggar moves something somewhere, even a little, the atmosphere would not be the same again. When you people do it, it's different. When this beggar does it, it's very different. This beggar prefers no sudden changes. Everything has to be gradual, and it should blend into the environment. It should slip into the environment. There should be no sharp and sudden changes in the cosmos. This is what Bhagwan said. Swami Vivekananda also said, everything in this cosmos is linked with everything else. There's a famous quotation, when a blade of grass is stamped upon, the distant star trembles. Such is the connection between one and the other in the whole cosmos. Everything is linked. You could have easily felt it also. If somebody should slip into the atmosphere with agony, grief-stricken, the atmosphere would change immediately. Some people very joyful, should enter a place, there is an immediate change. Even the presence of an animal makes a difference. I had seen when Bhagwan treated people, he would not like one particular type of people when he treated another type. Even one person can bring about a change in the atmosphere which may not be conducive. Now all this is because there is one pure consciousness, the supreme consciousness, which we call God. It's an all-powerful consciousness. It's an all-pervasive consciousness, all-knowing consciousness, what we call the Supreme. And that Supreme is residing inside us, and every breath is rooted in that. And therefore, any thought that occurs in the mind, it occurs in the consciousness of the divine. So how could this pure consciousness not know it? It is all-pervasive, all-knowing consciousness. Every thought occurs only in this consciousness. That is why they say, even the sound of an ant crawling, you can imagine the sound it makes. We would hardly notice it. It's a very faint sound. In fact, it's no sound at all. But even that could be heard by the divine. Nothing is ever so small for the divine. Why? It has become everything. It is the divine that has assumed all the forms. And it is the divine that is directing the movement of everything. And it is the divine that is linking everything in the cosmos. So everything is linked with every other thing in the cosmos. And that is why this quotation became famous. A blade of grass trampled upon would make a distant star tremble. It takes a very high level to understand all this. Enough to say that the mood of a person affects the very atmosphere. We all know that. Now the schoolboy, when he made some ordinary wishes, the whims and fancies, when he expressed some of them, his mother used to scold him. She would say, "Oh, Bhagwan is running the whole cosmos. He's very busy with the infinite details of the cosmos. Don't bother him with your petty wishes, your petty desires. He is very busy." Then this boy used to wonder, why should God be so busy that he wouldn't listen to my wish? Am I not included in the whole cosmos, in his cosmos? Am I outside it? So you see, often he found it a challenge. It was something that he could not understand, why his mother would say that God was too busy for him. And the father and mother, Manikantan, and his wife Ratna Jyoti, and this boy Sriram, they've been coming to the ashram the past few years only. And whenever this boy Sriram came with them, the Nama chanting, the pujas, hardly interested him. He would sit there with his parents, all the same, very bored with everything that was going on in the Pradhan Mandir. Just to satisfy his parents, he would sit along. One day, the Nama chanting was going on. He found it even a little punishment sitting there, but he somehow managed to get through that. And then the Arati started. The afternoon Arati started at about 12 o'clock. He was only in his 9th standard, 3 years back. He is now in the 12th standard. 3 years back, he was only in the 9th, who sat through the whole program of the Pradhan Mandir, because there was no other go. And when he stood along with other people in line to watch the Arati, suddenly he found something very interesting happening. Somebody had brought boxes of a particular sweet called Mysore Pak, a special sweet Mysore is famous for. It was there, boxes and boxes of them. So here was something that interested him. He felt the taste of it even at a distance, and suddenly this craving started for this Mysore Pak. The Arati was over, and all those boxes disappeared into the dining hall, and they went and had their lunch, returned to the room the ashram had allotted for them. He said to his mother, whatever you say about the cosmos and Bhagwan running the whole cosmos, that he is too busy for my petty wishes. Now I tell you this, if your Bhagwan is truly powerful, tell him to give me this Mysore Pak. I love it. I crave for it. Then his mother said, he doesn't have to prove his power to you. And don't bother him with your petty wishes. Again she reprimanded. And then he went to sleep. He threw a challenge at Bhagwan. Look, I'm not interested in the chanting of your name. I'm just beginning to get to know you. And if you are so powerful as all these people say, give me something that I want. And then he went to sleep. His tummy was full. In the afternoon, you know what happens after the food? He dozed off. He couldn't get up even at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And then the evening, after the evening session was over, when his mother returned, her eyes were shining. The one who scolded him so nicely in the afternoon for his asking for Mysore Pak, of all the things, here she was, grinning from ear to ear and saying, hey Sriram, just see what I've got for you. You threw a challenge at Bhagwan and see what he has given. And there were 3 pieces of Mysore Pak as prasad distributed at Pradhan Mandir the evening. And that is when Bhagwan got into Shriram as a powerful being. For a little boy, for a little school boy who was beginning to raise questions about life and death and God, this proved to be powerful. Bhagwan teaches in his own way, everybody, every being. the way they understand things. Now he says, Sriram has written a very beautiful article in excellent English that one wonders how he could write such expressions in English. He says, when my mother scolded me saying that Bhagwan is the cosmic controller, he runs the whole cosmos with its infinite, intelligent details, that he has no time for my petty wishes. I wondered if he is the one who made the thunder roar, would he not hear the sigh of a butterfly? Is it too much for him or too little for him? How could he be God? And that day, after Bhagwan proved it, by giving me what I craved for, I understood nothing is ever petty for him. Nothing is ever too small for him. No matter how busy he is with the whole cosmos, he listens to every wish of everyone. If that is intense, no matter how silly it is, how petty it is, he truly knows the crawling sound of an ant. He truly listens to everything that he made this profound point from a small enactment of a drama which Bhagwan staged in Pradhan Mandir for the sake of this little boy. So it all depends upon how you look at things, however small anything is. If you just look at the whole thing, in 2 or 3 sentences you could finish it off. You can say the boy craved for Mysore pak and Bhagwan gave it to him. What is so big about it? The boy learned something big out of this small thing. He learned, however busy Bhagwan is in running the whole cosmos, nothing is ever too small or petty for him. He listens to everything. He is all-knowing, he is truly all-knowing. And he cares, even for the petty wishes of his devotees. Some time back, I related another story, a true story of his glory. Kadalur Shri Ravichandran had come here with his son and daughter-in-law and the granddaughter, Rakshitha. They were doing Pada Pooja. This Rakshitha was only 3 or 4 years old at the time. And she found the whole thing, whole procedure of Pada Pooja very boring. And she became very restless. And she wanted to draw the attention of her parents. She was making a lot of noise, restlessly. And it was distracting the parents. So I just drew her away and said, look, if you keep quiet, sit somewhere, keep quiet, allow your parents to go ahead with Pada Pooja, I'll give you a big bar of chocolate. Well, that settled her nicely. She became quiet, became very busy with her own drawing this and that. But after the Pada Pooja was over, I forgot all about my word to her. I got very busy with people who had come to see me about something or the other. And that's when she came and said, she stood before me and waved her hand and said, didn't you say that you would give me a big bar of chocolate if I kept quiet? And you have not kept your word. She rightly pointed out, and suddenly I became aware. Yes, but where would I go for this bar of chocolate? I was not sure we had one with us. In any case, I pretended. I called Kalyani. I said, look, get her a bar of chocolate. Though I knew it might not be there at all. It would give me, I could buy some time and manage something. In the meantime, she was assured that she would get it. And at the time, people were offering flowers at the feet of Bhagwan, and soon Bhagwan's feet would fill up with all those flowers. So I had instructed people to remove all those flowers from time to time so that his lotus feet could be seen by people. So there were two people very busy with that, and this girl went and joined them. She started to assist him. And when she removed the last layer of flowers, to her great delight, she found a huge bar of chocolate between the 2 feet of Bhagwan. And then she shouted in excitement. She brought it all the way. And I was relieved. I sighed with great relief. Thank God, thank Bhagwan. And just see, I was moved to tears when I thought I had given a promise and there was no way I could keep it. And here Bhagwan was ready to fulfill the wish of this little girl. So you see, nothing is ever too small or petty for Bhagwan. Everybody's wish, every little, every petty wish counts with him. If it is sincere wish, and let us learn to wish for higher things. For a child of 4 years, for a schoolboy of 9th standard, it was okay. It was his first taste of grace, as he understood. Now, at our level, we have to ask for something more than chocolate or Mysore pak. We do not know how we are carried away by the desires of the world. Every desire after any worldly thing is only chocolate, is only Mysore pak. So let us learn to wish for, let us learn to crave for the divine himself. So Sriram says that Bhagwan, being the universal being, nothing is ever too small for him. Does that mean that we can go after small things? In one small enactment, Sriram learned a huge truth, the way the grace works. So it's up to us to ask for the right things in the world. I heard some time back somebody say, when you worship God for the sake of some worldly object, you are not worshipping God, you are worshipping the worldly object. How beautifully said. But then, it's not possible for everyone to wish only for God. We have our lives to lead. Wherever God has placed us, Bhagwan used to say, at whatever moment, at any moment, whatever happens is the best that can happen to you at that moment. Wherever God has placed you, it is the best place for your spiritual growth. Do not think there is a better alternative somewhere. God already knows your mindset. He already knows your vasanas, the tendencies, the latent tendencies in you. So He puts you in a certain place where you can grow up spiritually. So, as we are, at least let us know to desire something from the world is very natural, and as long as it keeps coming to us, let us ask God for it, like Sriram did. You know what happened when the Rakshitha asked me? She didn't get it, but Bhagwan had it. Bhagwan gave it to her readily. He kept up my promise. So let us learn to ask God directly. Otherwise, you will be asking X, Y, or Z. If you do not hold on to the feet of God, you will be holding on to the feet of someone or the other. So even if it's a petty desire, if it comes to you naturally, there is nothing wrong about it. It has come to you. You can put it before Bhagwan and ask Him. And after that, whether He gives or not, you learn to accept it. That is surrender. I can surely ask for whatever I want. After praying to Him, whatever comes my way, that is the blessing from God. If I get it, okay. That's fine. God has given me what I want. Let me celebrate this grace. If He doesn't give me in spite of my intense prayer, then that is the best for me, and that's why He is not giving it to me. And He is not giving it to me is a definite blessing. Let me learn to accept it. If we go about our desires after worldly things this way, surrendering to His feet for the results, then that will slowly lead to surrender. Learning to accept the results as given by God, despite our wish, despite our prayer, is what we have to practice. In the beginning, we think that it's only when Bhagwan gives whatever we want, we call it grace. If we don't get what we want from Bhagwan, then we think, oh, God has let me down. He has not given me what I wanted. And you feel bitter about it. But as you slowly grow up spiritually, you begin to identify that even not getting something from Him, what you so much wanted and not getting it from Him, is a definite blessing. And as you advance more and more spiritually, you begin to see only grace in everything, in every happening. It's only grace and grace and grace. The beginning, it's grace. The middle, it's grace. The end, it is grace. And there is nothing else but grace. That is true spiritual growth. Identifying grace in every happening. So let us learn this lesson. This is what Bhagwan used to say, that the blessings are pouring from Father on all sides, all the time. Learn to recognize it. Somebody came and asked Raman Maharishi, when will I get the grace from my Guru? When will I get the grace from God? Raman Maharishi said, pat came the reply from Raman Maharishi, Oi, there is only grace all the time. The grace is flowing all the time. You learn not to meddle with it, not to interrupt it. With our little mind, with our little brain, with our little knowledge, we begin to interfere with this grace and complain. Bhagwan used to say, an owl would close its eyes in the daytime when the sun is up there, bright. The owl would go and sit in a corner, close its eyes and complain, oh, it is dark everywhere, it is dark everywhere. So Bhagwan would say, don't be like the owl. Just open your eyes and you would see only light everywhere. Open your inner eye and you will see only grace in everything, everywhere. This is a practice. It's a spiritual practice to learn to identify grace in every happening. And then it becomes so powerful a practice, it begins to reveal itself how everything is a blessing. So let's remember what Raman Maharishi said also, that the grace is ever flowing, there is only grace, and let us learn not to interfere with it. Our Bhagwan is here. Let us submit our today's prayers at his feet. Even the way the world is today, the deadly, dreadful grip of this virus, it is a definite blessing, though we may not be able to feel so. Everything, every happening comes from God, and anything that comes from God can only be for our welfare and is a definite blessing. This is what Bhagwan has taught us. All the same, we wish for a change and we have to put it only before Bhagwan. So let's appeal to his generosity and ask Bhagwan, kindly intervene immediately to free the entire humanity from the dreadful grip of this virus and bring back normalcy everywhere in the world. And Bhagwan uproot all the unwanted tendencies from our heart, particularly the panic, the pandemic, and stop the spread of the diseases. Enter the vaccine. The drive is on now. Only if you enter the vaccine, it would work and do its job of killing the virus. And Bhagwan, please see to it that it reaches the right people, people who truly deserve it, who need it very badly and immediately. And all those great tapasvins who have been working day after day after day in the past 11 months, despite all the challenges, against all odds, at the very risk of their lives. Please give them protection and all-round well-being. And we seek your blessings for a boost to the economy, and above all, Bhagwan, please bless us with constant remembrance of your name and give us the capacity to recognize grace in every happening as we work through our life as fitting instruments in your hands. And let's do it with deep gratitude to God. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.